why are these orphans rejoicing? Because gifts to the Dorms for Orphanages Fund of Heaven's Family have provided them with new homes. Okay, welcome back to Matthew chapter 20. We're closing out now our discussion of Jesus' parable of the landowner and the laborers, and hopefully presented some ideas to you that got those wheels turning a little bit to provoke you into thinking that maybe on the surface, there's more under the surface rather in this parable than has often been considered. All right, now I closed out previously talking about the role of works and rewards ultimately, because all works will ultimately be rewarded. God is perfectly fair. We talked about how God is so fair that he takes in consideration what someone has to work with before, when he judges and evaluates them on how well they did and the works that they did do, okay? Because we all have different opportunities. I want to just segue from here into a passage in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, where the Apostle Paul talks about God's rewards that are waiting in the future and how they are individually determined, based upon how each person does, so that it dispels the idea that everybody gets the same reward one day when we stand before the Lord, okay? So 1 Corinthians chapter 3, Paul is talking about himself and Apollos. Of course, Paul planted the church in Corinth. Apollos came later and was a teacher there, and the Corinthians were dividing over who their favorite men of God were. And some were saying, I'm of Paul, some were saying, I'm of Apollos, some were saying, I'm of Peter, and so on. And so Paul's correcting that. And we're going to break into kind of the middle of the passage because we don't have enough time to cover it all. Verse number 6 of 1 Corinthians 3, I planted, Apollos watered, but God was causing the growth. So then, neither the one who plants nor the one who waters is anything. So don't be enamored with teachers and people whom God uses, but God who causes the growth. Stay enamored with God. Verse number 8. Now he who plants and he who waters are one. That is, we're on the same team. Me and Apollos, we're not, trying to get a bigger slice of the pie or exalt ourselves or dominate anyone. We're working together for the same goal, for the same God. Here's what I want you to read, though. But each will receive his own reward according to his own labor. So even though we're one as far as working for the same cause and the same God, but ultimately, it's going to change in the end. We receive individual rewards based upon what we have done. And so in verse number 9, Paul goes on, for we are God's fellow workers, you are God's field, God's building. So he compares the Corinthians to a field and to a building, a field which is sown and plants grow, and a building which is built from the ground up. And so Paul continues that building analogy in verse number 10, according to the grace of God which was given to me. So I have special opportunity. Like a wise master builder, I laid a foundation. So Paul was like the general contractor. He got the foundation going, then he left, and then he said, and another is building upon it. That's Apollos, who's with his teaching, building God's building. But each man must be careful how he builds it. For no man can lay a foundation other than the one which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Make sure the foundation is Jesus. But look at the ongoing construction materials as the building grows. Verse number 12. Now, if any man builds on the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, each man's work will become evident, for the day will show it, because it is to be revealed with fire, and the fire itself will test the quality of each man's work. Now, what's he portraying? He's showing you can build basically with 6 different kinds of material, very valuable materials, gold, silver, precious stones, or things that are relatively cheap, wood, hay, and straw. And not only are they relatively expensive and relatively cheap, those 3 different building building materials, but some are combustible and some are not non-combustible. If you put them through the fire, the wood, hay, and the stubble or straw is just consumed. If you put the gold, silver, and the precious stones through the fire, you still have gold, silver, and precious stones. Those are lasting, enduring things. And Paul says that one day everybody's works are going to be tested with fire. Okay? And it will become evident then what you were building with. It may not be evident to everybody now, but it'll become evident then. I submit to you, too many of us are building with wood, hay, and straw, and we're going to be very disappointed that when the day comes when God takes our works and puts them through the fire of His judgment at His judgment seat, because then it'll be revealed what we were really building with. Okay? If you build, with the false gospel and build a big church, guess what? You might think, wow, what great things I've done for God now. But when God takes your church and puts it through the fire and all comes out wood, hay, and stubble because you built with a false gospel that created a bunch of goats rather than sheep, it'll be evident in that day. Well, each man's work, verse number 13, each man's work will become evident, for the day will show it, because it is to be revealed with fire, and the fire itself will test the quality of each man's work. If any man's work which he has built on it remains, he will receive a reward. If any man's work is burned up, he will suffer loss. That is, he'll suffer a loss of reward he could have gained. But, listen, he himself will be saved, yet so as through fire. And so there will be people, even people in ministry, who when they stand before Jesus, their works will go through the fire, they'll be burnt up, and they will receive absolutely no reward, yet they will be saved. They'll inherit eternal life. Okay? And many who are first now will be last then. People who are highly esteemed in the eyes of many of their followers because of the great things that they have done. But in the day when the quality of their work is revealed and all they produced was a bunch of goats, oh my goodness, it's going to be a sad day. Many who are first will be last. Okay? All right, thank you so much for joining me. Can't wait to get together again next time. So I'll see you next time.
HeavenWord 7 is made possible by the financial support of viewers like you. Thank you.